Previously on the adventures of Tormund the Troll.
Tormund the Troll, a normal troll, bored of his humdrum existence inside a mountain, he decides to go exploring and enters the real world. There he finds real people and finds himself locked within an orchestra. Only finding his favorite mountain music will free him. He must explore the orchestra in order to find his way home.
Part 3. The Woodwind Family. Flutes, oboes, clarinets, bassoons. There are strong characters in this family. Unlike the string family, each instrument in the woodwind family sounds very different. So what makes them a family? Well, to start with, they are all long tubes that you blow down to make a sound. The different reeds. Most of them are made of wood, but the modern flute is made of metal. They have a mouthpiece as well as keys for different notes. In the orchestra, woodwind instruments often come in pairs. 2 flutes, 2 oboes, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons.
Then there are extra ones, like the piccolo. That's a tiny flute.
If we imagine the sound of each woodwind instrument to be like a colour, this is what the woodwind colour palette might look like.
So each woodwind instrument has its own special character of sound.
Woodwind together. Here is the woodwind family playing together along with the French horn. The French horn is a brass instrument, but it sounds good with woodwind instruments. It helps to make a nice round sound. This is the finale from the Wind Octet by Carl Reinecke. In music for the orchestra, there are a lot of solos for the woodwind. That's when these special sounds have a chance to shine. The flute. In the Stone Age, thousands of years ago, a flute was a bit of bone with holes in. Later, it became an instrument made out of wood, but today it is a long, smooth and shiny silver instrument covered with keys to press.
You can even get really expensive flutes made out of gold.
To play the flute, you hold it sideways and blow across the hole on the mouthpiece. It's like blowing across the top of a bottle.
The flute can play music that flutters around all over the place, like a butterfly.
In a full orchestra, there are 2 flutes and often a piccolo too. A piccolo is a little flute that sounds very high and really cuts through the texture of the full orchestra. We're going to hear an extract from a concerto by one of Johann Sebastian Bach's many sons. A concerto is a piece for a solo instrument and orchestra. After the introduction, listen to the fast notes of the flute above the orchestra. Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, or C.P.E. Bach as he's often called, was one of the sons of the great Johann Sebastian Bach. But he didn't just simply copy his father's music. His own music was fresh and new. So this is an extract from the third movement, Allegro Assai, from the Flute Concerto in A major by Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. Next we're going to hear an extract by the composer Bedřich Smetana. Smetana is a Czech composer. This extract is taken from a big work called Má vlast, which means My Country. And the section we're going to hear is from Movement 2, Vltava, the Moldau, which is the name of a river in Czechoslovakia. The composer Smetana is describing in music the great river. Can you imagine the rippling water? And here the flutes are all playing together.
I'm having so much fun. It doesn't matter that I haven't found my favourite music yet. There are so many lovely things to listen to.
The oboe. The oboe's bright, clear sound can fly through the orchestra like an arrow. The oboe gets a solo before the concert has even started. It plays the note A for the rest of the orchestra. All the other instruments have to make sure that their A is exactly the same as the oboe's. This is called tuning up. You put your lips around a reed to blow down the oboe. This reed is a double reed. Two very thin slices of cane, a kind of woody grass, that vibrate against each other when you blow. Have you ever tried to blow through a blade of grass? It's the same idea. The grass vibrates and makes a loud squeak sound. You could try it at home. There are usually two oboes in a full orchestra and often a cor anglais. The cor anglais is like a bigger oboe and makes a sort of sad, lonely sound.
In a famous piece called Peter and the Wolf by Prokofiev, he was Russian, the oboe takes the part of a duck.
The next extract we're going to hear is by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Mozart didn't play the oboe, but he still composed one of the most important pieces ever written for the instrument. The extract is the third movement, the Allegro, from Mozart's Oboe Concerto. The masterful Mozart is having fun with the oboe. Sometimes the oboe plays a tune and then the orchestra answers it. Can you hear that happen at the beginning of the piece? All the way through, it's as if the oboe is telling a story to the orchestra, and the orchestra is listening and nodding and reacting. The next extract is written by Maurice Ravel, a French composer. It's taken from his ballet Daphnis et Chloé, and it is from Part 3, the pantomime. Here we have two oboes playing together with music from the ballet. The ballet is all about a shepherdess and a goat herd who love each other, and it has a happy ending. The clarinet.
Oh, clarinets are cool. Sometimes they play jazz music and they seem kinda knowing and strong.
The clarinet makes a really smooth sound. The clarinet has a single reed. This is attached to a solid mouthpiece. You put your lips around the mouthpiece and the reed to blow down the instrument. Beginners sometimes make a squeak sound by accident. There are often two clarinets in a big orchestra, and sometimes a bass clarinet too, a really big one that sounds very low.
Oh, the silver bits look complicated, but only some of them are keys that you need to press.
The next extract is by Aaron Copland. Copland came from the USA, America, where jazz music was born. Can you hear how much he liked jazz in this next extract? It's taken from Copland's Clarinet Concerto, and the section is marked rather fast. Here, the confident, cheeky clarinet plays with string instruments. The music is spiky and fun. Keep listening, you never quite know what's going to happen next. The next extract has two clarinets together playing gentler music by Felix Mendelssohn. It's taken from Fingal's Cave from Mendelssohn's Hebrides Suite.
That's the cool clarinet, but it's not playing my special piece of music. Oh, where is it?
The bassoon. Bassoon. What a funny name.
In Italian, the bassoon is called a fagotto. If you were an Italian, you would be saying, "Oh, I'm sorry I forgot my fagotto today."
Well, yes, fagotto literally means a bundle of sticks, like the Old English word faggot, a faggot of sticks. But this instrument is like a lovely soft carpet in the orchestra. In this book, we've given it the colour of dark red. It is warm and welcoming. Most of the time, the bassoon sounds low down, but sometimes it has a solo and sings out higher. There are two bassoons and often a contrabassoon in a big orchestra. The contrabassoon is even bigger and sounds even lower. The bassoon has a double reed like the oboe, but it is attached to the end of a crook.
4 sections are joined together to make the bassoon: the bell, the tenor joint, the bass joint, and the the butt joint. The bassoon does have solos, but it isn't dying to show off all the time. People who play the bassoon, bassoonists, are often the same. They're relaxed and friendly.
The next extract is written by Antonio Vivaldi, a bassoon concerto in F major. This is just one of Vivaldi's 500 concertos. He was a very busy man. Many years ago, Vivaldi knew something very important. The bassoon could be a lovely solo instrument. Because it has a low pitch, people sometimes forget how nicely it can sing. Don't you think it makes a friendly sound? This is taken from the first movement, the Allegro, from the Bassoon Concerto in F major by Antonio Vivaldi. In this next extract, two bassoons have a lovely duet in the Concerto for Orchestra by the Hungarian composer Béla Bartók. This is taken from the second movement, Game of the Pairs. It's quiz time. Are you ready? Question 1. What do you press on woodwind instruments? A. Buttons. B. Keys. C. Valves. Question 2. Why are wind instruments called wind instruments? A. Because they make a rude noise. B. Because you blow air down them. C. Because they are always loud. Question 3. Why is the oboe always the first instrument you hear in a concert? A. Because oboists are show-offs. B. Because the oboe's A note is used for tuning up. C. Because the oboe is more important than the other instruments. Question 4. What is a reed made out of? A. Paper. B. Cane. C. Plastic. Question 5. What is the very small flute called? A. Pomelo. B. Piccolo. C. Pedalo.